Oh man.
How are you?
Oh good man. Oh good. Yeah, good. Very good one.
I think we're going to talk a lot about
You wore
yes.
the right t-shirt for this interview.
Yes. Anyway, and Supersonic Revolution, Arjen Lucassen's. It was a big surprise. I don't think anyone was expecting that.
No, that I wasn't expecting it.
I talk with you on a regular basis every time
I
you
know, yes,
figure it
yeah.
out, and I always ask, "What do you know what's going to happen when you start writing?" And you say, "I don't ever know what's going on." And then you surprise us each turn.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this one started because some magazine asked you for a cover version, and tell me how this snowballed into a proper band.
I know it's all spontaneous. I usually I don't work that spontaneous, but this time it was, yeah, the magazine they release these rock books and they always have a CD with cover versions. And the first two I was on the covers because I happened to have a cover for them. But this time I didn't. And I told them, sorry guys, I don't have a cover of any of these bands. And they said, well, can you make one for us? I said, yeah, for you, I'll do it. But they said, you've only got 1 week. And I was like, oh, how do I record a song within 1 week with the whole band? So I contacted the best musicians I could think of in Holland. And all of them, within 10 minutes, really, they were like, hey, man, we'll do it. Tomorrow you'll have it. And they sent it to me, and it was so much fun. And we had this WhatsApp group, and we had this typical humor where I don't know if you know it, we insult each other, you bastard, and we were having so much fun. And it was like, the song was ready, and we were like, okay, that was it, that's a shame. And I was like, let's do a whole album like this. Um, at first, I thought, let's do cover versions because I didn't have any songs. But then I thought, then we'll just be a cover band, let's do our own songs. And it's a challenge for me. Those are the best musicians I can think of in Holland. And I look up to them, and I was like, let's get the best out of these guys, let's show the world how great these guys are. So it was a challenge for me to write songs where I could show off what they can do.
Yeah, and
And yeah,
and obviously this is very 70s, inspired album,
yeah,
musically as the modern sound, but still brings back the vibe from the 70s era. It was a golden age of music, and I totally agree with you.
yeah,
you know
yeah,
the, the creativity, that start like in the late 60s to the 70s, even
right.
let's say to the early 80s.
Yeah,
It's unmatched. you know Obviously we have the classical music that was, a whole kettle of fish, the operas and everything. But in the rock uh genre, those, the 70s were just freaking amazing musically. It's I listened, Deep Purple, obviously a big inspiration for you, and it's amazing how, the music they created. They were a big influence for you, obviously, throughout your career.
hmm yeah. It started for me with glam rock. And I'm talking about Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Slade, Sweet, all this. It was exciting, it was crazy and it was outrageous.
Yeah,
But it wasn't just looks, they had good songs too, and they had good musicians, and it was just I loved it so much, but still, the Sweet and all these songs, it's so funny, funny what you do, it was still for kids,
yeah.
and then an older guy played me Made in Japan by Deep Purple, and I was, oh my God, you were talking about a kettle of fish. That was a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided, okay, I want to play guitar. I want to buy a Fender or an imitation of a Fender because I couldn't afford it. And I want to play like Blackmore and, So yeah, Made in Japan for me was the start of my musical career for sure.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about Made in Japan. It's probably the quintessential live record when it comes to rock bands. You know, I still listen to the album this day, and I don't. It doesn't sound dated to me by any
Not
means.
at all. Not at
You know,
all.
the energy from those shows. You know, you can feel it. You can feel the raw energy.
Totally, totally. And in those days, live albums were so much better than studio albums, you know. Because if you hear these songs in the studio version, it's like just not right, you know, it's just not right. But in those days, just put the mics there, have the band play, you know, no click tracks, no computers, nothing. And they came up with something inspiring like that, you know. It's that will never happen again.
Yeah.
It was once in a lifetime.
Do you think the technology these days is a bit detrimental to the
Absolutely.
when it comes to like the bands to develop? You know, I talk a lot. I'm biased. I was born in 75. I grew up in the 80s. You know, my dad had Queen records, had the Slade record. You know, I was a bit embarrassed by because the cover was the guys with no t-shirts or anything. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I was looking at this, but the music was great. You know, I put the
Yeah.
record, but I hit the cover because I was like, what
I
is
know,
this?
I know. What were they thinking?
Yeah, you know, but you know, the music was, you know, the level of danger in a way that rock music had, and the musicianship, it's something that new bands are great. They can play, you know, perfectly. You know, they are,
Oh, yes.
you know, great musicians, but that danger, that capacity to improvise. If there were if something fucked up live, the band would be playing and they would be improvising. These days, if something goes wrong, they just stop the show, go to the back.
They have to, you know, you have to stop the computers and start again. Yeah. And, you know, I do the same. You know, we're doing the Arion live shows now. And it's just you have that opportunity to do it on the computer, and you have to opportunity to do. Even now, we're programming all the effects, you know, all the lasers and all the lights and all the explosions and the surround sound. It's all in the computer, and yeah, I'm guilty. You know, I'm guilty. I do the same now, just because you can. I
Yeah.
mean, it's the same, you know, you're not going to get your old typewriter out, you know, which was way cooler. You're going to do it on your computer. And um, yeah, it's, you know, things are getting better, but are they really getting better? You know, that's the thing.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's just you know, the ability of a musician to improvise and play with the crowd if something goes wrong. You know, obviously, if you have an open mic, you can tell some jokes if they
Yeah,
work.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you
yeah,
can entertain the crowd like
yeah.
that. But instrumental wise, there's really not much you can do. And you know, these records, you know, it's a journey through, you know, those 70s, and it's great. And let's go with Burn It Down, because, you know, I never thought anyone would think of writing a song from the
I
point of
know.
view of the stupid with the flag.
I know I think it might be the coolest lyric I've ever written. You know,
I
it's not deep or anything, but it's the idea. It was just, you know, I'll explain how it went. It was every night before I go to bed, I watch YouTube because I want to be updated with. I don't want to be an old fart, you know, who says like everything was better then and everything's shit now. So I want to keep updated, and I still want to discover new things I like. So look at YouTube, but I'm 63 now, so I'm in front of the TV and I fall asleep, you know. And I woke up and Smoke on the Water was playing. And obviously, you know, we're big Deep Purple fans, but we can't hear Smoke on the Water anymore. You know, it's we heard it too often. And so I heard it and I was like, what makes this song so cool? And it's so simple, you know, it's and it's like the bass, doom, 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 doom. What can I do that? Because I can make all these complex rock operas, but can I make a simple song like that? So I went up to the guitar and I fooling around and I came up with this riff, and it was very similar to Smoke on the Water. I thought I can't do this; it's too close, you know. But then I thought, let's just do it and let's make it obvious. Let's make the lyric about Smoke on the Water, you know. And I was thinking, what can I do? Well, they told the story, but we never know what happened with the flare gun. Who was it and why did he do it? Let's explain that.
And I'll be honest, if you hadn't written about it, you know, from that perspective, you know, because now I think who the guy was, you know, who was that stupid? Does he even know? Is he still alive for a start? But does he even knows that probably the biggest rock song in history was written about him? You know?
Yeah, I know.
You know, can you?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
You know, how can you know? If the guy is alive, you know, does he even knows that?
Maybe he doesn't, you know. I would take the credit if I were him, you know. Hey, I was the stupid with the flare gun, you know. You get lots of interviews and attention.
Yeah,
but maybe he doesn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's you know, it's fantastic, and I think it was a genius idea to write something like that, because I don't
Thank
think
you, man.
No one ever thought about that, and now I'm thinking about that stupid, and I want to. Was it?
Yeah, and it was just to get even with his girlfriend. You know, that's the worst thing about it.
And you know, the Rise of Starman, is it about David Bowie? It's in a way a tribute to him.
No, it's basically the same as Burn It Down, the same principle. David Bowie recorded this album, Ziggy Stardust. And it's a concept album, but not really. You know, it's like Sgt. Pepper. It's not really a concept album. You know, you got a few songs that are related to the concept, but the rest just. So I was like, what is the album about? Who is Ziggy Stardust? You know, he gets only 5 years to save the children on the earth. And I was like, let's make my own story about Ziggy Stardust and try to explain what I think Bowie meant to say. So yeah, it's not about Bowie, it's about Ziggy Stardust.
Okay, cool. You know, it's fascinating that you did that approach for this record, trying to explain in a way, or you know, who those people were. You know, those stories that we know.
Yeah.
But who were they? Because there's never a clear explanation where they came from. You know, so I think you nailed it on the head. You know, how did you get inspired for that? It's just like a flash of light that goes through your head.
It's a flash of light where I'm like, yeah, I'm so proud, you know. And maybe I should do a whole album like that, you know. That's the concept. Explain lyrics with the song.
You know, it might be like a Pandora box for you.
Like Bohemian Rhapsody, you know. Who put the gun to his head, you know?
Yeah, was Scaramouche, you know, why?
The
Fandango thing, did he dance after? Didn't he do, you know?
No.
That's going to be a big Pandora box. I don't know if you want to go.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm going to think about it. Yeah.
So how long did it take?
Who was the child in time? How old is he now? Yeah.
I'm starting just to imagine all those songs about and trying to explain. I think it would make a great record. I think it would be great.
Maybe it's an idea for if we ever do another Supersonic Revolution. That will be the concept.
You already have the concept, so you already have a way. You know, right?
And it doesn't have to be 70s. It can be anything.
There's plenty of great songs to explore and trying to get the meaning of, and so when you realize, okay, we're going to make a record, how long did it take to start and finish the whole songwriting process?
Pretty fast, because I have to get inspired, and I get my inspiration from excitement of other people. It's weird, like a blues guy gets inspiration from being sad and wanting to kill himself, Other people get inspiration from a breakup, but I get inspiration from excitement of people I work with or people I play stuff to. That makes me excited. And doing this cover version of ZZ Top for this magazine, the guys were so excited, let's do more. And I was like, okay. And so once I am inspired and once I have a direction, I knew what the musicians were. I knew what I would have to write for them to make them shine. I knew the concept. It was going to be about happenings in the 70s. Then it goes pretty fast. It's getting to that point is often the hardest point. What am I going to write about? What is the style going to be? But it went pretty fast. So I would say a couple of months, maybe.
No, that's quite fast.
For me, that's fast because I'm a perfectionist, I'm not someone who writes a song, send it to the guys. No, I write a song and then before I send it to the guys, I perfect it. And that takes me like 2 weeks, because once I finish a song, it's not good enough. I have to change it and I have to put the chorus there and I have to make the solo longer and then transpose the song. Oh, it should be faster, it should be slower. That's always the biggest problem. How fast should the song be? You have this little machine here.
Yeah.
And then you have to decide, okay, what's the tempo of the song? And it's awful because in the morning you feel it very slow, but in the evening you're all excited and you feel it much faster. And it's so I in short, I keep working on songs, the perfectionism in me. So that's what takes time. But the original idea was pretty fast this time.
And the contribution from the other musicians was, obviously when you write, as I said, you're a perfectionist. You have your idea. You like to, have that frame of mind when you're writing. Did you allow for the musicians to put their ideas? And I mean, you said they're the best, so you have to trust them completely.
Of course, yeah. I try to make the basis as good as possible, so it has to be good is not enough for me, it has to be brilliant. And I can't do that, but they can. I can give a song to Joost and say, like, this is what I think the Hammond should do, but you can totally erase my ideas. You can totally come up with what you think this song needs and record it for me. And if I don't like it, I will tell you. And if I like it, I will tell you, which was the case, with almost everything he sent. And the same goes for the other musicians. I give them a basis where I think it's good, but I always tell them it has to be better than that. And you are the one who can make it better. So it's all a matter of trying to impress each other. I want to impress them with my ideas, and they want to impress me with the performance of my ideas.
Yeah. And that's why the songs get so good at the end.
I think it's good, and luckily you do.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a musician's album. Maybe you have to be a musician to realize. It sounds so arrogant what I'm saying, but to realize how good the musicians are.
No,
because I already put a few singles out, and mostly the comments are positive, but there are always a few who are negative, like, the guitar player just wants to show how fast he can play, and there's no emotion. If you only knew how much emotion Timo puts in his playing, because playing fast doesn't mean that you don't have emotion, It means that you can play these long notes, but then suddenly you get that rush of power, and you play this fast part, and it's full of emotion.
Yeah,
it's not emotion when you play your scales, or you just play one solo that's from beginning to end as fast as you can. We all know guitar players who do that. We won't mention names, but and after a while, it's but. I wish I would have the technique to convey my emotions in guitar playing, but I don't. I am a limited guitar player. You know, sometimes I would love to do that, but it's not in me. And maybe it would if I would rehearse 8 hours a day, which these guys do. You know,
Yeah.
they rehearse. They have to keep it up. Nothing
Yeah.
is comes easy.
You know,
But
I don't think I don't think there's showing off on this record. Showing off in the sense of playing just for the sake of playing. I think everything has a purpose on each song.
absolutely, absolutely. And as soon as I would feel like this is showing off, I have it a lot. You know, in Arion, I never have the instrumentalists who play solo. I never have them in my studio. They always do it at home, and they always send it to me. And sometimes, you know, it's just showing up from beginning to end. And I would be like, where's the story? You know, and there's no story. It's okay if you have a fast part if it needs it. But
Yeah.
so, yeah, it does happen.
Yeah. And, for me, again, I'm biased. I love 70s music. I love Deep Purple. And there's never too much Hammond organ on a song.
Yeah. Well,
You
there's
know,
plenty of Hammond here.
yeah, and for me, it's always like, I want a bit more. I want a bit more. Eustace, a great, I mean, is amazing, and he does a great job. Obviously, I remember watching, Deep Purple, the videos, the concert, and John Lord obviously was a very special musician. You can talk to I remember talking with a guy from Yes a few weeks ago, and as soon as I talked about John Lord, he was like, is the best there ever was, playing the keyboards. And, I remember watching John Lord playing, and just sometimes I thought he was going to throw the organ to the floor, but
Oh, yeah.
but the way that he played, and sometimes when he had that energy, you could hear like the fingers pressing the keys, and the sound that coming out, of those speakers was just very unique. It's hard to, when someone like John Lord, plays, and you have to try to follow that. It's kind of complicated, no matter how good you can be.
Yeah.
But Hughes does a great job, and he has the sense of melody that I don't think many people have, in this kind of music.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Joost is my best friend now. And of course, I've worked with him for 20 years since the first Star One tour, but that's definitely not the reason why I asked him for this. He just feels the Hammond organ. He feels the power of it. And you got to feel that. You got to feel like, doing those, and the Leslie, and when it should go fast and slow, and the distortion, and then being subtle again. You got to have that feel. Even if you have all the technique, if you don't have that attitude in you, it's not going to work. And Joost understands it, and like you said, he adds the melody to it. And that's so important, for me. Melody is everything, it has to have the power and the attitude. Attitude is an important word. But if the melody is not in there, then I'm gone. I was telling you, I was watching these YouTube news stuff, and there's so much, where the melody is missing, or it's all these standard melodies or these standard chords, but I'm so glad you heard that, that Joost still has that feel of melody in his.
Because we're talking about Timo and people saying that like showing off, but I can feel, at least I think I can, when someone is playing from the heart, and, because playing fast and playing melodic, you can play both if you know how to do it. Because as you talked about YouTube, we see a lot of YouTube or Instagram or whatever, great guys, playing really fast, but the melody, it's not there. It's beautiful to see the fingers fly.
Yeah, I know.
It's wow, it's But
It's
why is
it's yeah,
why is
it's
he playing
kind of
like that? You know,
yeah.
what does it fit? You know, where is the melody? Okay, well, not even, but does it fit the purpose of the music, or is just playing fast for the sake of playing fast? And
Yeah.
that's what people need to understand, because when they listen to these records, as I was saying, there's a purpose to each of the songs, and when they're playing, you can feel that freaking playing something they enjoy playing. They're not playing just because look how great I am.
No.
This is for the
No.
purpose of the song, and
Yeah.
people forget. I think they're forgetting a bit. Maybe they, they have it easy
Well, the
these
thing
years.
is, for me, there have to be moments like, look how great I am. But it has to be moments, but they have to be there, you know. But it's cool when it's just a short part where, like, okay, you know, you get this beautiful melody, you get this attitude, but here is a little teaser. You know, I can do this too,
Yeah,
and that's cool. You know, a little bit of showing off is great, just
yeah,
not all the time.
yeah. I think, for instance, on the Aryan records, there's more room for that. There's more room for the musicians to show off. But
Hmm.
this is more, and I love Aryan, but this is more song oriented
Oh
in,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
sense of this is about the song,
yeah.
more than anything else. It's songs, and that's important. Like,
It's songs, and it's also not many layers and many sounds and many. It's very back to basics, like you said. Purple, made in Japan. This could be played live, and it will sound like this. You know, if Timo starts playing a solo, there's no rhythm guitar. You know, if you listen to my other albums, there's this wall of guitars. It just
yeah,
keeps going. You know, but I thought it was very cool here that would be just one guitar. You know, like in the old days, Van Halen was just one guitar, or Blackmore was one guitar, or Michael Schenker was just
yeah,
one guitar, because you want to hear the guitar player and not some production.
yeah,
Um, Also, when this guitar is just one guitar in the middle, you got all this space for the Hammond, you know, with the revolving Leslie. So yeah, there's no gimmicks. There's no, I mean, there is a production, of course, sound wise, but each instrument has its own space in the mix, and you can't impress people with the wall of sound, which is cool too, but not for this project. I wanted to purely impress people with the songs, the melodies, and the capability of the musicians.
yeah. And the thing that Deep Purple did perfectly was when Blackmore was doing the solo, you had John Lord playing rhythm on the Hammond,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you could hear it, and it was like, this is fucking genius.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because not again, sometimes bands that have keyboard players, they're there to kind of fill the spaces, but John Lord was like a rhythm guitar player. He was like there,
Totally.
was there in the front, along with
Yeah.
Blackmore and Gillan and Roger Glover. He was part of that. He wasn't just there to fill the space, the gaps.
Oh, no, 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 no. No way.
And this record is great. And the cover versions, obviously, you talked about the ZZ Top already, but I was so happy to hear "Children of the Revolution" by T-Rex.
Yeah.
One, it's one of my guilty pleasure songs. That
Yeah.
I don't think people pay enough attention to T-Rex and what Mark Bolan did.
Mhm.
As a musician, as a singer, and he was great. And this song, it's fucking,
The riff is so simple and so effective. And I was a huge T-Rex. So that's really where it started for me. I bought Electric Warrior back in 1970. It was the first album I ever bought. And it was just magic for me. It's so simple, you know, and the lyrics are so simple, but it's so effective. And that song, that riff, you know,
yeah,
it's just,
it's again, you don't need to go crazy to write a great song. It's, as you were saying, back to basics. Make it simple, don't complicate, and you can get a great result. And those songs
Yep.
stood the test of time for a reason. And it's
Totally.
okay. People say, "Oh, it's simple." Yeah, but okay, you make a simple song then, right?
That's it. It's way harder. It's way harder, really.
People think it's,
Yeah.
write a simple song. It's probably easier for people that
Yeah.
just write some fast stuff and like
It is. It is, yeah.
And to wrap it up, what are the plans for playing live? Arjen, are you preparing Arjen shows? What's on your mind at the moment? Because we had the pandemic that kind of screwed up everything for everyone and threw a curveball for people. What are the plans for you when it comes to because it almost became a tradition to have Arjen.
Right. 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we the shows are in September, of course, and it's a lot of work. It's a couple of days a week. We have meetings and we work on the, like I said, programming everything, the lights and the explosions and the lasers and the surround sound, and it's a big job. So this whole year will be working on that. That's the main thing that we're doing. And of course, when the show is over, we will film the show, and then the DVD has to be made. That's another couple of months of work. So the next year we'll probably be working on that mostly.
And you talked about the surround, because I almost forgot about it. You're planning something special for these shows, because normally you have the speakers in the front and that's it, for people to listen. But this time you are like going almost full cinema on the.
It's the very new system called Soundscape, and it involves 20, 30 speakers in the audience. Usually you use it for the whole band, but I want to use it mainly for the effects. And there are so many effects on 01, the album 01 of Arion. So it's so cool to be in the middle of that, And of course, it's silly because you have to hang all these speakers in the venue. It's crazy expensive, this shit. And usually, a venue, they have them installed and they use them for a couple of years for all these operas, and we only use it for 5 days. So it's totally crazy. But once I've set my mind to something, I just want to do it. So
I think it's going to be great for those who are going to experience it live,
Oh, yes.
In the venue. And, obviously you said you're going to film, and obviously there's mixing involved after as well. Because of that soundscape system that you're going to use for the live show, obviously Dolby Atmos is kind of picking up now a bit, like especially on the streaming services, some of them, at least Apple and I think Tidal, they have that Dolby Atmos mix as well. For the release, are you going to stick with the 5.1, or you're going to try to explore the Atmos format?
Very good question. Of course, I can do 5.1 in my studio. I have the whole setup. I have the speakers, so that would be the easiest for me. If I would have a Dolby Atmos, I don't think I'm going to buy the whole system, just for myself. It's too much, and for this control freak to give it out to someone else is scary too. So basically, I would say 5.1, but you are right. It's becoming outdated, and maybe you're right. Maybe I should really look into the whole Dolby Atmos thing.
Yeah, I think it's
new thing to learn from this old man. Damn.
Sometimes you have. You always were, with the times. You always catch up with the times anyway, and I think now. It's just like, for instance, the Obituary record, they mixed on Dolby Atmos. And
okay, cool.
And it's death metal, and sometimes it's just like to hear those, left and right, and that's it.
Right.
This time, it's a whole, even though I don't think it's explored to the limit of what Dolby Atmos can do, it's a great mix. And, I love to listen to classical music on that format. And I think it's something that musicians and artists when it becomes cheaper, obviously, to mix, because it's not a cheap system to, to buy the thing and then mixing. Right. It's not an easy thing, but I think it's something you should look into, especially if you're going
definitely
with this live recording. If you're going to do that in the, if you're having the soundscape, maybe it would make sense to try the Dolby Atmos mix.
Yeah, you're right.
Trust someone, be there, but trust someone to do it.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know if Pro Tools already has an option to do Dolby Atmos.
I think
because buying a few more speakers is no problem, That maybe I'll just look into it myself. Maybe it won't be that complicated.
Yeah, maybe.
How many speakers is it, Dolby Atmos?
I think it's 7.2.1, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, but I think you can add. I think we can add more. But I think the basic one, I was looking into it, and I think it's 7 plus 2 plus 1. So
okay.
So I don't think but I think there's more. It depends on what you're going to mix anyway. But I look into it, and it was. I think it's great. I love to listen to music.
I think there's speakers on top as well, huh? Yeah. Is that the 2?
Yeah, I think so.
It's 5 around you, and then 2 on top, and a sub.
Yeah, I think it's. Okay. I think it's like that. So.
Okay. Well, these on top doesn't have to be huge speakers. Maybe it's 2 little small ones.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. Good idea.
All right. Arjen, thank you very much for your time. All the best for.
Always a pleasure.
Revolution for the live shows in September, and I look forward for the Blu-ray, hopefully with a Dolby Atmos mix.
Okay, man. Okay, I'll look into it. I swear.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay,
Thank you, man. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.